Hi everyone, this week in our Guru Gardening online class I am going to show you how you can turn one of these into one of these. Yes, that's right, it is a simple plastic container or bowl from the kitchen. You can use a square one, you can use a round one, it is completely up to you. I have decided to use this one because I melted it a little bit, so it's not really that useful in the kitchen anymore. And I might treat myself to a new one. But I'm going to show you how you can turn this into a lovely wildlife water hole for your own back garden. It can be somewhere where the birds can go and they can have a little bath, they can get a bit of water. If you maybe have a bit more wildlife in your garden, such as foxes and hedgehogs, that can also provide a source of hydration for them. So let's get started and we'll collect our bits and pieces. So just before we get started, there's a few things that you need to do. First of all, you need to identify an area that's going to be suitable for wildlife. I have picked this area behind me here. It's just under quite a large goldcrest. It's quite sheltered. There's a lot of other shrubs around, and we have our bird feeders just behind us here. So hopefully it will be somewhere secluded that animals will feel safe to visit. So a couple of things that you'll need. So you do have your bowl, square, round, whatever you want. Something that will fit in the space, as you can see. And then you're going to need a couple of pieces of rock. Now, these are just bits of old patio slabs that we had. Anything will do. What's going to happen with those is they're obviously going to go down into the bucket to weigh that down, and also add a little bit of a platform. We don't want it to be too deep, so we can layer those up, and it gives the birds somewhere where they can sit and enjoy the water, but it's still safe for them. So in terms of tools, the only thing that you're really going to need is a normal spade, and you can dig the hole out, and then obviously maybe make it a little bit bigger, and then pat in the soil back in around it just to secure it, and then we'll decorate it afterwards. So make sure that you do dig it, that the bowl goes down into the ground but not too far. I'll guide you through it and show you how to do it step by step. So just make sure that you keep checking the size of the hole. Don't dig too much. Keep putting the bowl in that you're using and make sure that it just fits nicely into it, and then you can start to fill in around the edges with the soil that you've dug out. I'm going to have to dig a little bit more, but then we'll start to add in the decorations as soon as I've got that done. Okay, so the hole is now ready to put the bowl into, so we're just going to go ahead and do that. Don't worry if it doesn't sit smoothly, it's not a problem, because whenever we put the weights into it, such as the stones, straight into the bottom, it'll help it to sit evenly, and then you can start to fill in around it. So the next stage is just to fill in around the bowl. Do this gently. We don't want a whole lot of debris actually going into the bowl. Make sure you do pat it around the sides. Now I've put this into a flower bed that we're currently working on. So obviously I'm going to be putting some little flowers and shrubs around it, so it'll look nice and pretty by the end. Just keep pushing down there, make sure that's nice and tight. We don't want any airlocks, because basically what will happen definitely. I love being in the garden, and I love pottering around and doing things, especially if it involves wildlife. So I hope that there's plenty of you who are turning to the garden at this time, and creating your own little place of solace and refuge, especially when we can't get out of the house. So the next stage is actually a really fun part. That's whenever you get to personalise this and add little bits from your garden around the little pool to make it look more authentic, as if it just was there all along. So I've just gone out into the garden. We have a huge amount of moss in our front garden, so I've collected quite a lot of it there. And what I'm going to do is start to add that around the edge of the bowl, and that will hopefully camouflage the edge of the bowl a little bit. And then we'll add some stones and some twigs and bits and bobs. It doesn't have to be too much. Obviously, we're going to plant some small plants around it, so we'll get that all pulled together. And the good thing was that while I went to collect the moss, whenever I came back out, there were already little birds sort of fluttering around it. So they're obviously not disturbed in any way by what I'm doing, which is obviously really important at this time of the year, especially whenever they're nesting or they've got chicks. Which is one thing that I would say, please be careful where you work in your garden at this time of the year. So many people are finding that they've got extra time in their hands, that they're maybe going out and cutting hedges, and there could be nests or anything in there. So maybe if you can just leave them for another few weeks, just to protect the birds, protect the wildlife. Okay, so I've just started to put some of the moss in here. Just tuck it in the edge of the bowl. We want that to be quite a thick layer. So I'm going to keep doing that all the way around the outside. Then I have a large stone that I'm going to add along the side here, and this other little bit of stone that's going to go in there, and then we'll get it filled up with water and finalised. Okay, and that's pretty much it in a nutshell. That is our little wildlife waterhole.